Sorry.
Well, actually, I thought it was interesting. Mike said that after the game, you guys did talk for a while, but he said a lot of it was just a compliment. You were proud of the guys for the way that they sort of reset in the ninth and battled, found a way, even not playing well.
Yeah, we were really, really disappointed with, our execution, our effort, our excitement to play the first 5 or 6 innings. And that's happened a couple other times this year too, and they kind of can catch themselves a little bit. It happened at Illinois State last week. We were down 4-0, and about the 6th inning, here they come. They score 2 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, and then end up winning at 7-5. But I don't want to make this a habit, but when these kind of things happen, when you don't play your best baseball, but you really can, we had some really quality at bats in the 9th inning. I wanted to make sure that we acknowledge that, as well as some of the good effort by some of the pitchers the second half of that game that kept the score where it was.
Is it tough to find a balance to, put urgency on the guys to play earlier than they necessarily have to according to the scoreboard, or is it and versus the opposite of just finding a way when things aren't going well?
Well, that's what we're trying to do, to be honest. And we talked about it again before the game today, that we've had a little trouble getting started on Saturday and Sundays. And I kind of, we talked about it even after the game last night, that, you have a lot of responsibility in your preparation now because you're on your own. Mm-hmm. We've played pretty well on the road, and I told the players last night the reason is because it's very structured. Everything's kind of mapped out for them. And then when we play at home, they have a lot of responsibility, so they need to look at that and make sure they're ready to go. So, go ahead.
I was going to say, what can you say about Modi just being able to step up in that moment and deliver a big hit?
A sign of really good players is can they play well when the game's on the line? A lot of guys can hit well when you're up by 8 runs or those kind of things. But Mike's had some big hits, not only this year but even last year. In the 8th and 9th inning of games, to not only sometimes tie games, but in this case today, win the game. 2 weeks ago against Wichita State to win the game. So that's the really sign of an elite player. And Mike's knocking on the doorsteps of being one of those kind of guys. And he didn't have very good at bats early in the game. I'm sure he acknowledged that. But when the game was on the line, he put together his best at bat. So did Isaac Collins. We can't forget about Isaac because we don't get to Mike unless Isaac does his job. And we can't even forget about Evan Spry, the freshman who's only had 1 or 2 at bats this year, coming off the bench and getting a walk. If Evan doesn't get a walk, if Isaac doesn't get a hit, Mike doesn't get a chance. So, and Isaac had a rough at bat early in the game with guys on second and third with 2 outs, and he got caught looking. And so his last 2 at bats looked more like Isaac, but we got to acknowledge those guys too to give Mike a chance.
A breaking ball. It looked like you were kind of on it, and what did you see after that?
Yeah, so I was expecting breaking ball away. I was trying to go to the right field because there's a big gap over there, and give our runners the opportunity to score. But I was a little late early, I'm not sure, but I was off of it. And then he threw the exact same pitch, the next pitch, and I was able to get most of it.
When you got it, did you think you got enough of it to clear the bases, or did you think you got enough of it to leave the park? I mean, how did you feel once you felt contact?
I knew it was going to be over his head. It was just a matter of if they got it in quick enough to get Ike. So I was pretty set on watching Ike, and I was stopped at second base, watched the throwing. So I knew it was enough to get the tie game. I didn't know enough for Ike to score.
Moments like this, Michael, I mean, we've talked about it a lot, but just being able to come through for your team, you prepare for these types of moments, obviously. What does it mean to, a lot of guys contributed, but you were the guy who had the last crack at it, and you were able to come through. What's that feeling like?
It feels great. I didn't have terribly good at-bats beginning of the game and even in the last game, and the other guys were able to pick me up. The pitching staff was able to control them. So I knew that I just got to step up one time and help my team out, and I did.
I know things probably got a little shaky in the later innings, but what did you think of Denson today in the first 4 innings he gave you to kind of keep zeros on the board for you guys?
As his first start for Creighton and his first time probably pitching in degree or this cold of weather coming from Texas.
Right.
You got to hand it to him. I know he probably didn't have the ideal outing he wanted, but he did a job. He got people out, and he left with like a 1-0 lead, 1-1 tie game.
Yeah, I think it was 1-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, so you can't ask for much more from a guy going out there pitching with 26 real feel, and then first outing of the year, really. So.
Did you when you were watching that guy warm up? Did you get a look at him at all in terms of like what he was going to throw, or you get a sense to have a game plan going into that bat? I don't know how much I don't know if you saw him at all beforehand or.
I think I may have seen him yesterday.
Okay.
But since there was an injury, he was able to throw as many as he wanted in the mound.
Right.
So I got my timing down, and I really knew I was getting the slider. So I was just waiting to see a slider, and got a good look at it. So.